Hello, g'day everyone. It's James Beazley here, the Managing Director of Six Group, and welcome to the Weekly Bees. I had some great comments on the last Weekly Bees, but I had one specific comment by a gentleman, Abhinav Goel, who's with Fortum in Finland. Thank you, Abhinav. Your comment was when I was talking about leaders coming on board where they need to really assess and then adapt their leadership for whatever is the context that they've got at the moment. He came back and said, well, what about change? How do you know how fast or how slow you need to implement change? So I thought I'd talk about that quickly today. So our friends at McKinsey have done a huge amount of studies on this and surveys across very large companies all over the world. When we look at change and pace of change, 37% actually meet the timelines that they set themselves, but there's a whopping 43% of change programs and companies that underestimate the time it ultimately takes to do a change. And then there's only about the remainder, which is 20%, that over-egg the pudding and give themselves a bit more time. And the average time to implement a new organisational change, and this was done across 500-600 companies, the average time to implement a new organisation after coming up with a concept was about 12 months. But 25% of reorg implementations take 18 months or even more, sometimes 2 years. I know of one case where it took a company 6 years to get through their total reorganisation. So what's the thought then? Should you do it fast, or should you take the time and do it slowly to ensure you got everyone on board? Well, the issue is with change, it's human nature that humans don't really like change, but we need to. We're in this constant evolving world and universe at the moment. The thing about change is it can be horribly distracting for an organisation. People can feel a bit disillusioned. They don't know what their role is. They don't know what their part is to play within the new organisation in terms of what are expectations. And before you know it, if you're 18 months, 2 years, 3 years down the track, you think, wow, we're taking too long to do this. And we see this time and time again. It's interesting, Europe takes longer to do organisational change than North America, China, India, and other developing markets. And what's the reason for that? Well, North America has very much a top-down, authoritative type of approach to business. The leaders there, they make the decision, the organisation follows. Well, so too does China, so too does India and other developing markets. Europe, most companies in Europe also work on a highly collaborative, almost consensus-driven type of approach or culture, which actually helps to actually slow down change and the rate of change. So the challenge of lengthy implementations are that, one, I've said, is they cause distraction, and because it's lengthy, issues tend to be dropped that need to actually be addressed. And issues to be dropped and time to drag, prolonging the disruption to people, then has a knock-on effect because it impacts retention of staff, people's attention on what needs to be done, and of course business performance goes down. That includes sales and fiscal performance of an organisation. So what do I think about change? We work with an organisation in Malaysia, and their whole mantra is big, fast results. It's part of the BFR Institute, and they do country transformations all around the world. We do transformations, and my view with people is, if it's going to be so distracting and it's going to actually cause business performance issues, then you need to get cracking, really, because the reason you're doing change is to have an outcome, and the outcome is to be better than where you are at the moment. So why wouldn't you do that as fast and as efficiently as possible? And McKinsey tells you that. I think in the book that I covered in the beginning under Reorg with Stephen Hyderi Robinson, Susan Hayward, they tell you that as well. That the best thing is to be as quick as possible. And that's counterintuitive because you think you want to buy and get everyone's buy-in and have them all part of the process. But at the end of the day, no one likes change, but you're doing change to make it better for everyone. So my view is pace of change needs to be there. You need to really be targeting for 12 months to get it all done and dusted. so that then you can get your organisation back up to a high-performing organisation. That's it from me this week from the Weekly Bees. I would love to hear your comments. It's getting close to Christmas, so I've got a good one for you next week, probably another book review for books you can read over Christmas. So look forward to that one. That's it on the Weekly Bees.